So we're going to talk about Composer scene transitions, but before we do,
Yeah.
I just wanted to take a moment to not announce, but mention, and we'll put a link to it in the show. Um, Friday, I was starting to get sick, and I was kind of down, so I was just going through the forums and trying to answer questions and stuff, and I answered a question in the forums, and I think I'm going to say because I was not feeling well that I didn't do a good job answering, and so the guy maybe he thought I wasn't maybe he thought I was dismissing. I often feel like people think maybe I'm a little dismissive because I'm terse when I respond to their questions, but I wasn't being. So, but feeling bad about it, I said, and I went back and put a little more effort in and gave a solution. And so the question was, he was asking, is there a way to modify the simulator, or could Corona staff modify the simulator so it would please catch these case sensitivity errors that people run into? So new people, old people, everybody who's in the community has done this at least once. And what it is when you're working on your app and you're testing in the simulator, be it OS 10 or Windows, the simulator is relying upon the operating system, and the operating system is not case sensitive with regards to file names. Uppercase Bob and lowercase Bob .lua, for example, are the same thing to OS 10 and Windows. However, later on, when you run your game or app on Android or iOS, you will run into a problem if you've gotten the case wrong, because those operating systems are case sensitive. So long story short, people do their work, and everything's tight on the simulator. They go and they export it, and it fails. And it's kind of mysterious because you either don't get good feedback, or if you're new, you don't know how to look at the logs or whatever. Anyways, I answered his question saying that it would be something that would need to be changed in Corona SDK itself. It's not really a simulator problem so much as reliance on the operating system. And then it occurred to me, why don't I just go fix this problem? So I released a module, what I will call a module. It's a one-liner. You can include it in your app as the first line in main.lua. And then optionally, you can write one additional line of code to sort of like turn up the error level if you wish. And what it will do is, if you make a mistake, as the application encounters these mistakes, in case, be it loading a resource file like a PNG, or trying to require a Lua file that has the wrong case, it will print a message through the console, and if you've turned up the error level, it will also pop up a dialog which will tell you the line of code that is doing the, making a mistake. And so people can download this. Like I said, we can include a link after the show. They can include it into their project at any time, from the beginning to the end. It disables itself if it's not run on a simulator, so you can just leave it in there, and it won't interfere with the performance of your application. It does no heavy lifting if it's not running on the simulator. So in a nutshell, the heavy lifting it does is it discovers all of the files in your resource folder, which is basically where your app lives. It then makes a listing of all the possible Lua files and all the possible resource files, and then it does I make a change to the display library, to the graphics library, and a couple of other libraries, or what you might think of as modules in Corona, to do additional checking to verify that the file name that is passed into the function is in one of those two lists. And if it's not found in one of those two lists, it points it out.
Okay. So our first takeaway there, I guess, is there are case sensitivity differences between platforms, Windows, Linux, whatever. And then the second is that if you want something that will help you ferret those out and make it easier to track them down, then you can use this module.
And the third point is for people who have been in the community for a while, like myself, instead of always answering the forums and saying, yeah, that's a known problem, just don't do it, which is basically what I did, is consider helping the person and saying, I know how to solve that problem. So I know it takes time, but there are problems, not problems, I wouldn't even call them problems. There are facets, behaviors of Corona, which are they're too low on the radar for the staff to deal with. This is one of them. They could fix this, but it would take time. Changes to Corona SDK. It would introduce the possibility of creating new bugs in the system. So they got bigger issues. They got to deal with new features, advertising, yada yada yada. Yeah. People like myself, other people in the community, like Sergey, we can fix some of these things easily for community members, and so we should do that.
Yeah, well, good job. Thank you very much. That's excellent. And that they can find that where?
They can find it on my GitHub account and under I have a GitHub, what do you call it? Repository called RG Free Stuff, which is where I put a lot of my things.
Okay.
And under there is a subfolder called Ask Ed, and it's in the 2015 folder under there. I mean, it's kind of deep. I'll give you the direct link.
Yeah.
But people should just find the Roaming Gamer GitHub repositories, and you can find all kinds of goodies. I've got lots of different answers for different forum questions, and I oftentimes will put things in there when I'm working on an idea and didn't quite finish it, like a mechanics concept or something, and I just figured people might find it interesting, so I release it there.
Well, there you go. We will definitely put a link in the show notes directly to it, so if you're looking for that specifically, you can click on it and go right to it. But if you are over there, check out the rest of what Ed has going on. Like he just said, he's got a bunch of stuff. I know that there's a lot of things out there from previous Corona Geeks, a lot of conversations that we've had, a lot of code snippets, a lot of nuggets, a lot of gold in them there hills. So go grab everything that he's got out there while you can.